Okay guys, in this video we're going to have a look at how we work out the area of a triangle using the formula 0.5ab sine c. Okay, so what does that actually mean? Well, if we look at this triangle here, and it can be any triangle, doesn't need to be a specific triangle, doesn't have to be a right angle triangle, literally can be any triangle. And if we label the angles A, B and C, notice they're in capitals, the side opposite that angle will be the lowercase letter. So for example, if angle B is there, lowercase b is the opposite side. Angle A is here, opposite is the lowercase a for the length, and angle C here, opposite that is the length lowercase c. Okay, so when I'm referring to AB sine C, this is what I mean. So if I have angle C, so it's capital C, so if I have angle C, I then want lengths A and B, so basically the lengths next to the angle, okay? And then all I need to do is just substitute those into the formula, and that will tell me the area of the triangle. So I've got a few examples, so let's get going. Here's the first one. I've got the angle 40, the sides next to it, so my A and B are going to be 10 and 9. I'm just going to substitute it straight into the into the formula. So 1/2 times A, B, doesn't matter which one's which because they're both next to the angle, doesn't matter. So times 10 times 9 times sine, and the angle is 40, so times sine 40. And all we do is we get our calculator here and type it in. So you can use the fraction button to do 1/2, but 1/2 is just the same as saying 0.5 times 10 times 9 times sine. Now notice on sine, I don't know if you can see it on the calculator, sometimes when you press the sine button or cosine or tan, you have a bracket. So if you do have a bracket, just make sure once you put the angle in, you close the bracket before pressing equals, because you might get the wrong answer. And hopefully you can see that, that's 28.92. So if we were to round that to one decimal place, 28.9. And don't forget, because it's area of a triangle, it will be centimeters squared. Okay, so there's the first one. Next one, so this time I've chosen a different angle, but again the angle is here, the two sides next to it, in this case are 7 and 6.5. So again, I'm just going to substitute it straight into the equation, or formula I should say, so 1/2 times 6.5 times 7 times sine, and the angle this time is 78. So I'll put it in brackets this time just to show you what it would be like on the calculator. And again, I'm just going to bring my calculator over here. 0.5 or 1/2 times 6.5 times 7 times sine, and again in brackets 78. Don't forget to close them. And I get 22.252, etc., etc. So again, I'm going to round this to one decimal place, which would be 22. The 5 tells me to round it up, so 22.3. Okay. Now, oh, sorry, I missed my units, haven't I? Centimeters squared. Okay. And again, I've just twisted the triangle a little bit this time. So, and I've got 3 sides. So don't get confused. Just remember, if that's the angle, I want the sides next to it. So I want 4.5 and I want 5.5. So again, I'm going to substitute it in. So 1/2 times 4.5 times 5.5. I don't care about the 7, it's irrelevant because I've got my angle and the two sides, so times my sine in brackets 98. And once I put that into my calculator, let's have a look. So 0.5 times by 4.5 times by 5.5 times by sine, and this time 98, close the bracket. What do I have? I have 12.254, and again I'm going to round it to one decimal place to be 12.5, rounds it up to 3 centimeters squared. Okay, so hopefully just by using this formula you can see it's quite nice and easy. All you got to do is just work out the angle, the two sides next to it, substitute it in, and then happy days, you can work out the area of the triangle. So that's nice and easy. If I turn my page over, we have some slightly harder questions. In this case, I've been told what the area is, and I want to know what the length is. Okay, so in this case, I've been given the area, I've got one length, and I've got the angle, I'm just missing the other length. So I'm missing either A or B. First thing to do is to substitute in what you know. So let's just write out the formula, because I haven't got it on this page. So 1/2 times A times B times sine C, which is the angle, and that's going to equal the area. Okay, let's sub in what we know. Well, 1/2 is obviously just 1/2. Let's say A is 8. Times B, well, B is the missing length, which we're going to call X. Times by sine C, which is the angle. Notice again the two sides are touching that angle, so it'll be sine 38. And that equals the area, and we're told the area this time is 30. So let's have a little bit of tidying up. I've got 1/2 times 8, well that's just 4, times x, so 4x, and then obviously times sine 38 equals 30. Now I just want to get x on its own. So a little bit of balance method here. We're either rearranging equations or solving equations, whichever way you've seen the balance method. I want to get x on its own, so I want to get rid of the 4, and I want to get rid of sine 38. So all I do is I divide by 4 sine 38. So divide by 4 sine 38, both sides, hence why it's balanced. 4 sine 38. And again, I'm getting my calculator here. So 30 divided by, I might put this in brackets just to doubly make sure there's no problems. 4 times sine 38. Don't forget to close that bracket, and obviously close the bracket that you've got. So you've got 30 divided by 4 times sine 38. Press equals, and I get 12.18. And again, I'm going to round that to one decimal place to be 12.2. Now this time it's not centimetres squared, because it's just a length, it stays as centimetres. Okay, so that's what you can do if you have a missing length. In this particular case, I have a missing angle, but again, I've been told what the area is. In this case, it's 75 centimetres squared. Exactly the same process, write out the formula. So 1/2 times A times B times sine C, and that's going to equal the area. Substitute in what we know, so 1/2 times, and again look, the angle is, and these two lengths are next to it, so they are the A and the B. So 15 times 12 times sine C. Now C I don't know, but it's got theta. Theta is just the Greek symbol we use to represent an angle, so I will use it in this case here, and it equals the area, which we're told is 75. Again, a little bit of tidying up. So 0.5 times 15 times 12, that's going to give me 90. So 90 times sine theta equals 75. Okay. Now again, I just want theta on its own, so I want to get rid of this 90. Well, currently I'm doing 90 times sine theta, so I do the opposite and I divide by 90. Don't forget both sides to keep it balanced. So sine theta equals 75 over 90. I'm going to keep it as a fraction for now, because hopefully, once you get in this position, you'll remember that to get rid of sine from this side, we do the inverse. So inverse sine, which is just on the calculator, shift sine. So you've got that little -1 there, and then in brackets, 75 over 90. If you've done trigonometry, finding missing angles, you'll know what you've seen this before. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 75 divided by 90. Don't forget to close off the bracket. So I've got inverse sine. Like I said again, to do that, you do shift sine, and you should notice a little -1. If you haven't got that, you've got the wrong one. So sine to the power of -1, and in brackets 75 divided by 90. I press equals, and I get 56.44 degrees. And again, if I round that to one decimal place, let's call it 56.4 degrees. Okay, so lots of examples there of how to work out the area. If you've got the area, how to work out the side, and if you've got the area, how to work out an angle. So hopefully that helps. Cheers, guys.